So TNA has decided to downsize their pay-per-views from 12 to 4 a year. Now, my thoughts on this, I think it's like a great idea for them to do that, because I've always believed in the whole concept of less is more. Now, to get to where I'm trying to what I'm trying to say is do a little quick history of how pay-per-views were back in the day, to those of you new fans who don't know. Back in the day with WWE, when it was WWF at the time, they had the big four, as we always like to call them: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And WCW had their big pay-per-views too, but it wasn't as, as much. They had Starrcade, which is their major one. They had Fall Brawl, Slamboree, and the Great American Bash, and I think at the time Beach Blast or Bash of the Beach, same thing. But they had about 5 to 6 a year. But during those times where it meant something, each of those pay-per-views meant something. Something big was about to happen. It wasn't overdone where every month you're about to see something totally special, you know what I mean? And it made storylines a lot longer and more interesting. I mean, back in the day, you had guys who were feuding for almost a year for either a title or just for a bitter feud, and it was so enjoyable at the time. And I understand nowadays people have a short attention span, that they don't want to see people with long title reigns and stuff like that. But back in the day, I mean, it showed more credibility to belts. It had more credibility to storylines at the time when it had less pay-per-views. Now, in between those pay-per-views, they also had these big show specials. Like with WWE, they had Saturday Night Main Event, which was like 2 to 3 hour shows on NBC, and sometimes they show it on Fox. And then WCW had Clash of the Champions, which was another free program that was on the TBS channel. And yeah, those shows had something big to put on the table, but it wasn't as big as the pay-per-views where you need to buy it in order to watch it. But because of the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, that's when you started to see more and more pay-per-views. I mean, WCW kind of blew the first shot in doing more pay-per-views when they added in World War III, Uncensored. I can't think of the other ones. Halloween Havoc, but that was way before the Attitude Era. But then, WWE, decided to follow suit by adding their In Your House pay-per-view series. And then when they put in like different nicknames like Unforgiven, Bad Blood, those pay-per-views started to take a life on its own, and now we have these pay-per-views where it's based on matches, which I don't really find pleasing in my opinion, but that's another rant for another time. So getting back to TNA, I think what they're trying to do is go back to the way it used to be, less pay-per-views. And yes, they're gonna have many pay-per-views in between the big four. They decided to keep Genesis, they decided to keep Lockdown, Bound for Glory, and Slammiversary. I mean, they decided to keep those, but in between those, they're gonna have some big pay-per-view matches, which is about $15 a piece. So it's gonna be big, but they say there's gonna be having a theme on it, like maybe a pay-per-view for just X Division wrestlers or just tag team or something like that. So I don't know what their format is going to be, but when I heard about this from OKFave, because that's where I first heard about this, they're doing like these mini pay-per-views. I was thinking like, wow, it's kind of going back to where WWE had their Saturday Night Main Events and WCW had their Clash of the Champions. Only back then you didn't have to pay to watch them. But this is these are trying economic times, so you gotta have to squeeze a buck here and there, So So yeah, I like I said before, how I felt about less pay-per-views. That would be better for storyline, better for longevity of having a long title reign, give credibility to championships. I think it'd be good for TNA, and also it'd be good for TNA to actually use those mini pay-per-views to help build up brand new stars like Joey Ryan, like even Hernandez, who's pretty much already established, but at the same time, you know, he needs to get up there, in my opinion. But guys like though, especially for the Gut Check series they have, I mean, they can have a pay-per-view with just Gut Check, you know what I mean? I mean, heck, WWE has their own development head of NXT, which I think is a great idea, but they could do that. So yeah, I think that it's a great idea that TNA is doing this. I think it's gonna benefit them in the long run. It might not, but that's my opinion. Now, what else I was gonna say? Yeah, I had a lot of things to talk about this, you know, but I think pretty much I just covered everything. You know, I just pretty much covered everything, how I felt about it, and you know, if it works, it works. If not, I hope it works, because I'll be honest with you, having 12 pay-per-views a year, it does tend to get a little expensive, because they're like about 50, 30 to 60 bucks a pop, and you have to dish out that type of money just to watch a pay-per-view, especially pay-per-views that are not that important anymore. There are a lot of pay-per-views in WWE that are not that big of a deal, like, you know, Elimination Chamber, or, you know, TLC. I'd rather see those matches in the big four. Even Money in the Bank, I think that's a waste of pay-per-view space, you know. I mean, to some people it's a good idea, but at the same time, I was like, why can't they just leave it on WrestleMania, you know? But WWE wants to make that money, you know what I mean? They do well when it comes to pay-per-view buy rates, you know what I mean? I'm just glad they didn't go back to doing 15 a year, because there was a year that they did 15 a year with the Taboo Tuesday and all that stuff like that. I thought that was ridiculous. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it, and you can give me your thoughts on if TNA is doing the right thing, or if you feel that keeping to 12 a year is going to be the best route for any Fed or something like that. So kindly give me your rebuttals and your comments, negative or positive, and I'll gladly discuss with you with that. But before I go, I want to take the time to give a shout out to OK Fave Show. You can click on there, click on, boom, right there. Yeah, I didn't write the whole thing, I just put his image on there. So yeah, you can click on that to go on his channel. I know Connor very well. I used to work with him. He used to own Fed, and he's a really great guy and very funny guy. I love his show. Gives good insight on professional wrestling with just a mix of comedy, like he always says. So check him out on his YouTube channel. Also visit his Facebook, and also his website, which I'm actually on the website now, so you can look at my videos on his website. And I want to thank him for making me be part of his website, and wish him the best of luck in his being a YouTube partner for the YouTube network. That is a huge step for him, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for those times. So definitely check this guy out. Awesome guy, awesome human being, you know. So anyway, this is Duo Dreamer, rant number 18. I'll see you guys later. Peace.